Hi everyone, welcome here to my channel. My name is Fabiana and in today's video I'm going to be making a skirt on my Centro knitting machine. That's this skirt. It's a bohemian style skirt that's great for summer days and has beautiful tassels on the front of it. And it's great to wear on top of a swimsuit or a bodysuit or even bikinis. It is made out of three panels, two for the front, one for the back, and a beautiful granny square waist. That's gonna be all explained in the video for you guys. Now, if you want more sizes for this is a medium size and it fits me. It would fit as well a small, but if you want for a large size, I'm going to leave the link down in the description below for the pattern that I sell on Etsy. If you want to help my business as well, you can purchase the pattern there and it's all written. Because I made a few changes, I would like it to be a little longer, but it can also be made shorter if you want. It could be like short as this, just for a little bikini cover up as well. I'm going to be using this yarn here that's also linked on the description below. If you go there, you can find my Amazon front shop where I share all the products related to circular knitting machines, and you can find this yarn there. This yarn is a very cheap yarn and it's acrylic as well, so it has a little bit of give and it works fine with the circular knitting machine. I'm going to be using 5 balls of this yarn. This yarn is only 50 grams, okay? They sell in balls of 50 grams, not 100 grams. So one more thing that I would like to say to you guys, if you are subscribed to my channel and if you don't speak English, you don't understand English, you can go here on the setup like I'm showing you now and just choose your own language. I know I have a lot of followers from Italy, France, Germany and Brazil, so if you want to choose your own language and understand the tutorials a little better, I've been sharing them since a year ago, I think. They're all dubbed, so my voice is gonna appear to you in your own language, okay? So guys, let's get started with this tutorial and I'm going to explain the whole way what you have to do to get to the right size for you. And if you like my top, that's a beautiful rose top as well. I'm going to share down the description below so you can make a matching rose top for you. So to start making this skirt, the first thing that I'm going to do is make enough granny squares to fit around my waist. These granny squares are gonna be on top of the skirt and they have to go around your waist without problems because you have to try it, when you try it on, this has to go through your hips, okay? So I'll be making, for me, I'm a size medium, I'll be making 10 of these granny squares. They are the very basic granny squares. And so the way I start the granny square is I make a magic loop this way. And this way is actually the easiest way that I found online. Always works for me. So you wrap around your finger like this. And then you put the hook through, pull the second part of the yarn, twist it, and make a chain. Then after that you can just remove your finger and chain 2. And then double crochet 2 more. Chain 2 and then double crochet 3, all in that magic ring. Chain 2 again. We're gonna be making 4 of these clusters of 3 double crochets. As I said, if this part is easy for you because you made a lot of granny squares in your life, just skip to the next part where I'm going to be using my Centro machine to make the long panels for this skirt. Now right here, what I like to do, and this is a different way of closing this square, is half double crochet in that second chain from the beginning. So I just half double crochet and I'm right here in the corner ready to start the next row. And then the next row is again 2 chains to go up and then 2 double crochets in that half double crochet we just made, and then chain 1 in between these clusters, double crochet 3, chain 2 in the corner. Every corner you're gonna chain 2, and then double crochet 3. Chain 1 and repeat. I'm going to go all the way here, and then I'll come back with you just to make the last row to show you, and then to join with the rest of the granny squares for the waist. And then in this first chain space where we started, make 3 extra double crochets to finish the last corner. And I'm using a 3.5 millimeters hook. And then half double crochet in that first stitch, just like before, chain 2 and restart this next round the same way we did before, but we're gonna have an extra cluster of double crochets here in this middle chain. Now if this is your first double crochet, you just repeat this row around, but because I'm joining now, this is my last one for the waist, what I'm going to do is chain 1 instead of 2 and just start joining on the other with the other granny squares as I go. So grab your next granny square. If you don't have one, you just repeat the same row from before. And I'm going to single crochet in the other granny square corner. And that is straight from there. I'm not gonna chain now, otherwise I'll have too much space in between my squares. I'm going to double crochet 2 in the square, 3 in the square. Just really following the same pattern from before. And now instead of chaining 1, I'm just gonna single crochet on the other side. No chains here to join. 1, 2, 3 in the other chain, and then join with the next chain space. And then go to the next corner and make 3 double crochets again. And now chain 1 just because it's the corner, single crochet, and go straight to the same chain space to finish this corner and start the other side. Then here I'm going to chain 1 because I don't have to join with the other granny square. Chain 1 again. This is how it's looking like. And then double crochet 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and now I'm going to join. And if you don't have to do that for all of them, it's just the last one. All the remaining, you're gonna join only on the one side, okay? Just because this is the last one that I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to join on both sides to close them as a tube and later on seam it with the rest of the skirt. Single crochet to join, and then repeat the work we just did. And then after joining the last time, chain 1 and single crochet in that first chain on the beginning, the second chain on the beginning. And then chain 3, skip 1 here, double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, double crochet. And then repeat this around. We're gonna use this to pass the string through, the string on the top of our skirt. Here in the middle we can make a stitch as well. And repeat this row all around to finish on the waist side of it. And then finish this row with a chain and a slip stitch in that second chain from the beginning, or a single crochet as well. I use both. For me it doesn't really matter, it depends on my mood really. And now we are going to single crochet, one single crochet in each stitch. You can also use different type of granny square with flowers or something like that. I just wanted to show you guys this one because very easy to make and anyone can do it. So I'll finish this row here and then I'll come back with you to make all the panels for this skirt. So by looking at the numbers for my analytics for this channel, I realized that 80% of you are not subscribed to my channel, and I highly recommend you to subscribe because I have a lot of tutorials only for circular knitting machines. I have like 20 types of different beanies you could never imagine you could make with these machines, and I also have socks, I have sweaters tutorials, pants tutorials. So if you subscribe, there's a lot to find in my channel, and I would be really glad if you could, because it's for free and it helps my business growing. Thank you so much. And then now I got my central knitting machine to make all the panels for this long skirt. So what you do before that is you measure, like I'm doing here, from the bottom of your waist to the length that you want, and then you multiply that number by 2. So what I got here was 140 rows for this one and this one. I'm going to be making the 3 of them, so 1 for the back and 2 for the front, so I can make all sizes from extra small to large, okay? So I'm going to start with the back panel. The back panel is gonna have 45 stitches and 140 rows. If you wanna make a short skirt, you can make a short skirt as well. Just make half of these rows or just the length that you want. I normally multiply this gauge by 2 because in 10 centimeters I have 20 rows. So if I want, let's say, 40 centimeters, I'm just gonna double it. It's quite easy because that's the way the gauge works for most of the yarns on these machines, okay? It can vary sometimes from 19 to 20, 21, but normally it's just like that. So if you want a skirt with 40 centimeters, you make 80 rows. So I'm going to cast on 45 stitches using some waste yarn, just because I need 3 stitches empty needles to work the panel mode of my machine. Otherwise, if I don't have 3 needles empty, I drop stitches on the beginning and at the end, and it doesn't look nice. So needle 45, and I'm going to start making my way back. I'm pulling the yarn with my fingers so I can apply some pressure, some tension on the yarn on the beginning. I do that this way, just pulling with my finger. That way your edges are gonna be more neat. Then getting here, make your way back. If that stitch is not down on the bottom, make sure it is, because that's another reason why you drop stitches. And then make this 3rd row. Again, pull that yarn down on the bottom. It normally does that every single edge, so you have to pay attention at all times, okay? Even in the middle of the work. So now I'm going to make only 3 rows. I don't need 4. And then I'm going to start here on the beginning here. I'm going to turn my counter on, and then I'm going to get ready to make 140 rows. Put the yarn here. On the beginning, always leave a long tail so we're gonna be mattress stitching, and since it's a long skirt, just make sure you leave a fair bit of tail down on the bottom. And then start making your rows. Oh, now we did, okay. So go slowly in this first row. As you can see, I'm just letting the yarn go through my hands, not applying any tension, and always checking if this yarn's on the bottom there. Make sure the yarn goes underneath here, and then you can make your way back. Also, always check this first stitch here every time you make it, okay? And then make your way back. Always apply some tension with this finger here, I pull it. With my thumb, I pull it. See, again, it's not down, put it way down. Okay, so I'm going to be making these 3 panels. If you want any other size, I left it calculated for you in the pattern down in the description below. It's on my Etsy shop and also on my website, knittingmachinepatterns.com. Okay, guys, so I'm going to make all these 3 panels, and then I'll come back with you just to quickly show you how I cast off from the machine, and then we're gonna put this skirt together. And then after you made all your rows, all you have to do is make a full row without the yarn. And then remove all the stitches with a tapestry needle. And a contrasting color of yarn, so it's easier to bind off later. I always say that because it's quite important to use a contrasting color of yarn. Always be careful not to drop the next stitch after. Okay, so this is how our back panel looks like. You can also stretch it a bit this way, and then the other way around, just to rearrange the stitches. And then I'm gonna show you some measurements just before I put it all together for you guys to see what sizes, what length and what width do I have for each panel, okay? Now that we have all our panels ready, I already made here a mattress stitch, and then when I finished mattress stitch, all I did was pull a little bit before I make a knot here on the top, just to make sure the stitching stretches as much as this skirt, because otherwise it's gonna look funny when you finish. So to do that, I'm going to put them side by side. I'm just gonna quickly show you the mattress stitch here, because you wanna stitch both right sides together, okay? So flip it over and then put through that same stitch again. Which is gonna be this one for me. And then I sometimes grab like this just because it's easier to see. And then see it's coming out of there, I'm going to go for this too. You don't need to pull it straight away. You can pull the yarn after a few rows, just so when you're stitching here, it's easier to see where you put the last stitch, like I'm seeing here, this loop here, and then go to the next one. And then after a few rows, you can just pull it. Not too tight, because as I said, you need to make sure this will stretch as much as the rest of the fabric, okay? So I'll just repeat this all the way to the top, and then after a few rows you can pull. and it will be joined together just like this. Okay, so I'm going to seam it all the way to the top here, and then bind off with a knot, and then I'll come back with you guys just to show you how I'm going to finish this skirt after this, okay? Now these are the measurements, and because I decided to make my skirt a little shorter, as you can see, I made 140 rows, as I said, and I have 70 centimeters. It's exactly double of the number of centimeters that you want. So I made 140 and ended up with 70 centimeters this way. And the back panel has, and it does stretch a lot, that's why don't worry, that's not gonna fit. It's just gonna, this seaming here is gonna be slightly to the back of the body and not so on the front, because this panel is slightly smaller than the combination of the number of stitches of the other two, okay? And I made this so I didn't have to make 4 panels instead. And that's okay, because it's still gonna be right in the middle of your body, but it's just slightly to the back. And so this is the back panel length, around 33 centimeters or 13 inches. So now what you can do to rearrange these stitches and your tension is just pull it this way and then pull the other way. Another thing that you can do as well to make these stitches look more neat, you can steam it with a steamer, okay? And that's gonna make your stitches just look more even, you know. So you can do that before you seam it, before you finish it. And now I'm going to start with a bigger hook. Here it is. This is a 4 millimeters hook. I had a 3.5 before. I'm going to use this one to finish here because I don't want a tight bind off, okay? Just because this is gonna be right on the hips. That's the part that's gonna go on the hips, and I want this to be stretchy so you can try it on, since we are not going to have, it's gonna be closed on the top, okay, on the waist. And this part here will later seam with the crochet pieces. And actually, let me show you the crochet pieces. Each one of them is 7.5 centimeters or exactly 3 inches, okay? So, and then the whole waist has 3 inches as well. And then the entire piece, if you want to know that too, and it stretches a bit, okay? It's 15.5 inches or around 39 centimeters for a medium size, okay? And because we're gonna have this string here, it's gonna just stay fit on the body after it's ready. Now let's bind off this. This is a simple bind off, like I made many times before. It's just a slip stitch in with each 2 stitches. Pull this way and then this way. Don't make it too tight again, otherwise it's gonna be tied on your waist. And so I'm going to be repeating this all the way to the end here. And then I'm gonna show you how I'm going to do along the side, because it's gonna be a little different, because I wanna have a few rows going down so I can put a string through and pull it. That's so I can explain to you. That's what's gonna happen here. I'm going to probably make it a little longer, just so the skirt closes more. So all the way to my knee probably, or a little bit before that. And then I'm gonna explain how I'm going to do this part soon. And then here along the side, I'm going to be making first a row of single crochets, and then I'm going to single crochet and then skip 1. Single crochet, skip 1. This is in order to not have the crochet part more stretched than the knitting. That's why I always skip 1 stitch, because the crochet stitch is actually a little longer than 1 row, and that way they all match, as you can see here, and it sort of it kind of holds the structure a bit, it holds the skirt a little bit when you try it on, because the knitting is very, very stretchy. So this serves as a role more for structure of the garment. And so I'm going to do that on both sides, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing that I did here on the opposite end here to be able to remove all this waste yarn after this, okay? And if you haven't checked my book yet, this is my book, Knits in a Circle. It has 16 modern designs for circular knitting machines. And also it has a full explanation of how you can knit panels as well. It has all the introduction, it has all stitches that I used for seaming as well, so it's a great book to have at home. So go to Amazon and check it out. I think it's really worth to have this book at home. After I finished this other side here, I went through every single stitch on the top here, just making single crochets. So it's one single crochet in each stitch here on the top, and then getting here to the first side right where we started. What I'm going to do now is just going down using double crochets so I can pass the string through the double crochets after. So you chain 1, 2, sometimes chain 3 on the beginning, and then double crochet in the very next stitch. And just repeat that along the way. Just really on the sides, not on the bottom. On the bottom you can make an edge as well. And then I'll be making one more row here, but I'll come back with you guys when I make this row here. That can be an edge as well. I might make an edge here just to stop. As you can see, one row is it's not enough to stop the curling. So I'll have to make an extra row here. So just double crochet all the way to the bottom there. That also helps with the width. If you think this skirt's not wide enough, you finished it and it's not wide enough, you can make a few extra rows after this one here on both sides, okay? Only on the sides. And then here, if you think your length's not enough, you can also make extra rows here just to make this waist a little wider as well. I think it will look nice. Even though I'm not making it, I'm going to seam straight away here. I think it will look really nice with a longer crochet waist on this one. And then getting here to the bottom, after this first side here, I decided to make a very simple edge, but as I said, you can use any edge you want, and you can also add fringes if you want later. I think fringes would look nice. And if you want to add fringes, just make a single crochet row here, okay? Because I'm making an edge, I'm going to chain 2 from here, and then I'm going to just put the hook through and pull 2 stitches this way, and then go into the next stitch here and single crochet. Chain 2, repeat that same work, pull 1, pull 2, pull through, and then skip a stitch. And so I'm going to repeat this edge here all around the bottom. And when I reach the other side, I'm going to repeat this work here, okay? And then I'll come back with you just to join this top part with the rest of the skirt and then finish it. And then here, after I finish the second side and the bottom part of it, I'm going to finish here in this last stitch, just like this. And then I'm going to leave a very long tail to seam with this, with the other piece. Then just pull it through and grab a smaller tapestry needle. The smaller ones, they're easier to work with on crochet. So that's why I like them. And then here now what we have to do is place a few markers. Okay, so this is the positioning of the both sides, and now I'm going to start seaming it. Two of this. It can either be this way here. So both top loops. Just this way here, only because it's a different stitch, that one. And then now you can kind of go the same way on both sides. Just like this. And because here you have the markers, you know if you need to skip stitches. Like right now I need to skip this one because it needs to stay in place all the way to here. So this stitch is almost aligned with this next one, so I'm going to skip one. So I have to seam this all about alignment of the stitches, really. That's the way you're gonna do it. Not really by counting them, but just by spotting with your own eyes what the perfect match to get here to this spot in the same time with this part here and this part here. So I'm gonna go ahead and seam it all. Okay, now I finished here to seam right in this last one. Just closing here. You can close more if you actually want it, but I'm going to put the string through and the string's gonna close it. One string to the top of it with double yarn. As you can see, there's two strands of yarn because I wanted it thicker. And then I made a little one here just with one strand of yarn to pass through these holes here, okay, and then pull it to the top. I'm gonna quickly show you how I make my tassels here. First, before you make the tassel, just make sure you put it through here, because otherwise with the tassel it's gonna be hard. I found a really easy way to make a tassel. I don't know if any other person does like that, but I used to do like that because I used to have many bikinis with tassels, so and then I like to use a smaller hook to put it through underneath and then pull this yarn. So this, hide it there in the middle like this, and then just cut this yarn. And there you go, that's a perfect tassel, really easy to make. Okay, I'm gonna make on the other side as well. And this string here is enough to make a lace on the front. I think it's gonna look really nice. So I'm gonna make this other tassel after. And then let's see if this works. My idea here was make a knot on the bottom and then just pass through each side, just like a shoelace or something, and then just pull it through. Keep passing through both sides. I'm going to do this every second stitch. So just do this and then I'll come back with you after I try it on, just to show you how it looks like. But this is the tutorial for today, guys. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I think it's gonna look really, really nice on the body, this skirt here. Just letting you know that in the pattern, I'm going to correct the sizes and the length and the width if there's something wrong with it. So the pattern will have the right measurements for a small, medium and a large. Leave me a like if you enjoy my tutorials. I also love to listen what you have to say. If you have any questions, let me know. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to make tutorials for you guys. See you the next time. Bye.